Welcome back. The race for the White House, the 2020 presidential election now just 6 short days away. This election will be like no other we've seen, with early voting expected to hit record numbers and the specter of the pandemic hovering around this election. Joining me right now is Luntz global founder and president Frank Luntz. He's been having some interesting polling results about what voters are thinking. And Frank, it is great to have you this morning for you to share it with us. What are you seeing?
Well, first thing, I need to give you one statistic, Maria, which is that every time the Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series in the last 35 years, every single time they've won, the Republicans have won the White House. Now, I don't know if that's a correlation. I don't know if you have conviction, but I was there last night, and at least there was one celebration to have over the last. Well, it was quite an evening, and it was consistent this morning.
Yeah, President Trump's got that going for him, the LA Dodgers. So you've been speaking to a lot of voters, Frank. What are the biggest issues of the election, you think? How are people voting? I mean, Frank, these polls have been consistent throughout, and yet there's turnout that you see on the Trump team that continues to surprise on the upside. So what do you think?
Well, I look at the numbers now, and the one that most interests me is expectations for what's going to happen next Tuesday. And you've got the polling numbers there. That even though Biden is leading most public polls by somewhere around 9%, only 2/3 of Joe Biden's voters actually think that he's going to win. Conversely, 81%, 4 out of 5 Trump voters think that their candidate is going to win. So on election night, the assumption on both sides is that they're going to be successful. So how the votes are counted, how quickly they're counted, is going to have a tremendous impact on those first hours right after the polls close, and will have an impact on what the expectations will be as the night goes on, as the days go on, and I emphasize days, and what they expect to happen in the final count.
So what about that? What are the states that you're looking at? Is it simply looking at the swing states like Pennsylvania or North Carolina that are critical in this election for President Trump? How do you think he can win?
Well, the first thing for Trump is that he must win Florida and Ohio and North Carolina. Those states are too close to call right now, and every one of those states is required for a Republican to win nationwide. And on the Democratic side, they're looking at the 3 states in the industrial Midwest, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. For them to be successful, they have to win those 3 states. And then the states that people are looking at that might possibly go from Democrat to Republican, Nevada and Minnesota, those are the states that Republicans are eyeing very carefully because they've got a shot in those 2 states. So in reality, this is not a nationwide election. This is a state-by-state election. And in reality, the actual turnout right now, and I think you've got those numbers with you, by 2-1, Joe Biden is, his voters are voting early. By 2-1, Trump's voters are going to vote on Election Day. That's what's critical. How those people participate. If Trump's voters come out to the polls, they still have a shot.
It's interesting because your polling found interesting facts about the voter confidence and how their votes and the election results actually will be counted.
Exactly. And the key there is, for the first time ever in American history, 1 out of 3 voters are afraid that the votes will not be counted correctly, and 1 out of 4 voters are even afraid that their own vote won't be counted correctly. We've never had that concern in the electoral system. It's something we should be paying attention to.
Yeah, I mean, with all of these stories of ballots in the garbage and missing ballots, it's raised a lot of concern. Frank, it's great to see you. Love your insights. Thanks so much.
And just remember that every time the Dodgers win, the Republicans win.
Okay. You got it. LA Dodgers. Thank you so much, Frank Luntz.